God, Morgan! It is actually the morning. It's before noon. I have a little clock right there that lets me know. Normally I'd be using my phone, which I don't have there because it fell off, which you will see in a moment on Monday, but I guess I have this, my douche watch. Yep, it is 10:35. Thank you, douche wash. Normally I'm not out in the morning. I'm not a morning person, but I got errands to do. I've already did some, and I've got to did some more. The forecast says 80 freaking 5 today. It's all douche watch. It's only 70 right now. That's why I'm not wearing sleeves, but I wanted to get up before I got to 85. Plus, I want to get some of these errands done now. In case you care what these errands are, they are all for my new McJeep. It keeps sending me places. A couple weeks ago, my Friday was me running errands for my Jeep and doing it again. I went to the McBank this morning, earlier, like freaking 10 minutes ago. I don't know why I said this morning thinking that's in the past. I wouldn't be riding in the morning. Anyway, I went there and then I'm going to the dealership to get my title and I'm going to take that to DMV. Instead of hoping to come up with something to talk about, I actually thought about something a little while ago. I thought, oh, I should tell that story because I have a story. It's called About How I Almost Didn't Graduate from High School.
It's a true story starring yours truly, and I will tell it to you in detail.
It was senior year in high school and I was doing all of the schools. I was doing the maths, the sciences, but the thing about science is, as much as I love saying science, I suck at it in the school system. Like if I put, what are they called? Mentos in a Diet Coke, let it explode, I'd go, science! Because, sure, it's a science. There's a science to everything. 2 + 2, science! It's the science of numbers. Math is the science of numbers, biology is the science of life, everything is a science. So you can basically shout science at anything and it's true. Anyways, I do not like, and I was not good at school science. The science when you actually have to think, and there's these hieroglyphics in this different language. I can't remember what it's called, chemical compounds, blah, blah, blah. I can memorize stuff like the periodic table. I had that down at some point, but it didn't matter because it's a bunch of hieroglyphics. Anyways, I sucked at it, right? And I, to make light of it, tried very hard, as hard as I could, all year long, senior year, to pass and not fail science. I tried my very best, and this is where it got me. So here we go to the real point of the story. I got to the final exam, and at this point, I mean, I can't quite remember the stack, but long story short, if I did not pass or get a passing grade on this exam in science, I would not graduate high school. Basically, if I didn't pass that exam, I wouldn't have passed that quarter, which would have averaged my, what's half a year called, that would have failed. And then averaging that with my first, I think it's called semester, I don't know, that would have failed, which means I would have failed the course, and then I wouldn't have had enough credits to graduate high school. It quite literally, and with all legit reasons, was hinging on that exam. And you gotta know, you gotta expect the stress. It was my least favorite subject. So I didn't take the test in my class. I took it in the class next door to a teacher whose name I can't remember, but basically, he was awesome. The reason he was awesome is because he was mean, but in a funny way. What he did for Christmas, for example, was he dressed up like Santa Claus. He'd go around throwing candy canes at people and cussing at them and saying Merry Christmas. That's the kind of person he was. When I had a test and handed it in to my other teacher, he'd just walk in with a pair of scissors, just kind of snipping them casually, and then randomly snip people's tests as they were handed in. And he'd do the same thing with a stick of glue. Like I was walking to hand one of my tests in, and he just was randomly walking around, and occasionally he'd put a big old dab of glue on someone's paper randomly. I wouldn't say he was my hero, but he had a lot of mannerisms that I aspire to have. So anyway, I'm in his classroom taking this final exam. Not that it eased the stress, but this is who I'm working under. And so he's being himself. I'm staring at this under timer, under all the stress in the world, and he's sitting up at his desk with a green laser, just kind of pointing it around the room in people's eyes and on their papers. And eventually, I'm just paying attention to my paper. Eventually, the laser lands on my paper, and I hear, "That kid looks like he's going to fail." He must have known that I sucked. I mean, he should, because I'd been coming to him and my teacher all year long asking for help, and I would show up to class early to get one-on-one time. I would do everything in my power. They had to know that it was hard for me. Everyone laughed at this, by the way, and at first I thought it was funny, because like, haha, yeah, that's a funny joke, and then it wasn't funny because I realized, actually, am I about to fail? Is that what it looks like? Graduation was, I think, less than a week later,
and we hadn't gotten our results back from any of our finals. I wasn't worried about any of the others. I did just fine. I knew I felt I did, therefore I did. No, I was good at everything else. Wasn't a problem. But science, couldn't do it. And up to the graduation, I was stressing because I hadn't gotten the results back. I didn't know if I passed the test. I didn't know if I had failed school. Like, I didn't know. And I thought they were supposed to give it to me before we graduated and had the ceremony, but they didn't. So our school had a ceremony or a ritual when you get in your gown and you walk with your class through all the halls of the school. So they had us do that. I was thinking, why are they making me do this? I don't know if I graduated yet. They can't make me. And I was stressing the whole time. So then they dressed us up in our fabulous dresses and they walked us to the school, and we were coming by the science classes, and all the teachers stand outside of their classes to what's the word? Applaud our escape. We're escaping out of there. So I'm going by the science classes, and ow, my crotch area. And I didn't have very long to ask because literally I couldn't slow down. I was in a crowd. I was in a pack of people in dresses. We all looked the same, and I had to ask them both. They were standing next to each other. Oh, I'm stressing just thinking about it. I'm like, did I pass? Did I graduate? And I remember his face, and I remember what he said. He goes, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." He said it twice. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And, and I worried about it so hard. I'll come right back. I gotta go get my title. But hopefully you think this story is interesting because it's funny in hindsight. But man, that was stressful. I'll be right back. I guess it wasn't actually the title. It was the paperwork I need to go get my title, which is fine because that's where I'm going anywhere. I'm going to get. It's a funny story because to this day, I do not know, and I don't want to know if I actually graduated, because one of two things happened. One, I passed somehow, but it's also possible I did not, and my teacher, who was awesome, knew how hard I tried, or he was awesome, whatever, and he decided to pass me even though I completely failed the test. Who knows? I do not know to this day. Quick summary: after high school, I worked regular jobs for 4 years, which was a waste of time because then I started doing YouTube for fun when I had free time, and that turned into my job, and this is the best job that there is or ever will be. But still, dude, freaking, I'm 24 now, and I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. So, a happy ending. Well, I'm almost at the DMV, and I have to wait there for a while. I already went and had a custom license plate request, but I can't get the plate until I turn this paperwork in. So anyways, you'll see that later on one of my Ruby Tuesdays when I do videos with and about the Jeep. Otherwise, thank you for watching. I hope that story was hilarious for you because it's funny now. After the fact. It was not. But whatever. That's all I got. I got nothing else. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.